Well, I'm gonna leave it over here for now until because I can't it's hooked up. So just turn it over. Exactly. I'm gonna turn to the flag. Okay, 10 o'clock. Welcome to the BOCC meeting. You rise and pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And agenda approval.
Commissioners, I have no changes to the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Chairman Cooley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And consent agenda.
All right, on today's agenda, I have the meeting minutes from March 25th. I have the April 1st meeting minutes. I have the April 8th meeting minutes. I have a sick time donation for John Barella and a sick time donation for Keanu Lopez.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda with a few updates. Number 13 on page 2 for March 25th, last name spelling of the name Bob McClelland. And page 3, the proclamation 25-02 Clean Energy County motion was made by me and Commissioner Waddell.
I'll second the motion.
First and second, any other discussions? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Cooley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now time for public comment. You, everybody get signed up on here that wanted to talk?
Do you have Keith?
Yeah, I was gonna go with, that's what I make sure on here. We do have one that signed in earlier that wanted to talk, Keith
Hubbard.
Hobber, thank you. Hobber, permission for the Huerfano County Community Center. Hello, sir. Do you come to the podium? State your name and address for the record.
My name is Keith Hobber. I live at 671 Ponderosa Road in Cacharo, but Lomita address Millie. I have some picture here I'd like to hand. May I come forward?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
First, I'd like to thank the county for allowing us to have our post in one of your buildings. It's been 106 years that we know to have a home post, and this is the first one. What you see in front of you is a rough picture of the sign that we wish to post. At the top of it on the second page, you'll notice a Legion emblem. That is a bronze emblem. Will be at the top of the sign. Below that will be cutting out the letters, Brian T. Chiquette, post 16 on auxiliary unit 16, which is also on our post. We'd like to post these out in front of the south side entrance of the building. We will do the installation. And as you go to the third page, you will also see that the cost of this is about $1,400, $1,500. We will also pay for that so that you know that we are very happy to be there. One of the other things I'd like approval sometime in the future, probably, for us to be able to put this sign in. One of the other things is we would like to have a contract with the county for about 25 years at $1 a year so that everybody knows what the future of that particular location and the American Legion is. And lastly, I would like to see if we could have sometime in the future, the VSO moved to our location in an office that we have there. And what this will do, will make it easy access. There's a handicap access. It's all on one floor. And we are veterans trying to help veterans. So that would make it good for us.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
I don't think
Thank
it
you.
is that, maybe.
Mr. Chairman, I have a follow on to Keith's. Do you want me to wait until public comment?
You could finish it out real quick if you could come up to the mic and state the name.
David Rogers, American Legion Post 16 Commander, 4065 County Road 510 in Walsenburg. Good morning to everybody. The National American Legion was founded March 15, 1919 in Paris, France, as our servicemen were awaiting transport back to the United States from fighting the Great War. They became, shall we say, restless in a foreign land. President Teddy Roosevelt's son, Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt Jr., established the Legion from the officers and men of the American Expeditionary Force left in Paris with the purpose of taking care of our returning veterans from the effects of war. On September 16, 1919, the 66th United States Congress granted a congressional charter to the Legion of the United States Code, Title 36, Chapter 217. Post 16th was granted a charter from the National American Legion on August 1st, 1919, making this post the 16th post in Colorado and 106 years old in August. Some of the founding members of the post included August Unfug, Plummer J. Gardner, George B. Dick, A.A. Unfug, and Ralph Levy, just to name a few notables that helped shape Huerfano County to what it is today. Early in the 2000s, the American Legion partnered with the Veterans of Foreign Wars and established a post on 6th Street across from the First National Bank of Trinidad. The building was owned by the VFW and Post 16 was just a tenant. Somewhere along the line, some budget impropriety by the VFW occurred and the National VFW closed the doors, disestablishing the VFW post and basically leaving Post 16 out in the open. Unfortunately, they took all of the American Legion's records with them, and we have not been able to recover much historical data from the inception of the post in 1919 to 2000, over 81 years. For example, the American Legion owned and operated one of the baseball fields behind the community center in 1932 as Legion Field. This is why the current location of the post operations from the community center is so valuable to us. This will be the first time in about 25 years Post 16 has a place to call a real post. We do not take this location lightly and would like to commend the commissioners for allowing us to use the facility to operate under the 4 pillars of the American Legion: Americanism, children and youth, national security, and veterans and rehabilitation. This will be a location where the veterans and their families will be able to celebrate veterans holidays, camaraderie with other veterans, and celebrate their service to our great nation. Once again, from all the veterans in Huerfano County, we thank you. And I have some certificates of appreciation, if I may approach.
Sure.
And in recognition of sincere appreciation of unwavering commitment to Huerfano County veterans, which contributes to the advancement of the American Legion programs and activities dedicated to God and country. Presented by Brian T. Chiquette, Post 16, Department of Colorado, this 15th day of April, 2025. And I have with me our original charter signed August 1st, 1919. And it was lost, and this is a replica of it, but it has a lot of important names on there that were here in the county and everything. So we're 106 years old.
That's outstanding.
Don't look like it.
You handle it really well.
Thank you, sir.
I did get you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Excellent.
So.
First in line, Jim Littlefield.
Good morning. First thing I would like to address is I noticed in the agenda that resolution number 25-16 is back on the agenda. That was tabled, I guess, 2 meetings ago. And to my surprise, you've taken the RFP 23-08 out of there, 2 or 3 other things. And I would ask today, when you come to that resolution, that you please explain to us what it is you're trying to accomplish with this resolution. Other than the affirming the importance of the Parker Fitzgerald Kachara Mountain Park, it would appear that you are potentially taking on the agreement that was put in place between the Kachara Foundation and the county when that land was turned over to you. Have you all read the purchase and sales agreement, the deeds recorded and all of that? I would ask you to take another look at that, because they, the Kachara Foundation, have the power to ensure that it remains in public hands, that it continues to be for nature, recreation, and for the youth of Huerfano County, not for commercial establishments to come in and have their way with that place. The second thing I'd like to address is I was dismayed to not see on the agenda the signing of the agreement with the Panadero Ski Corp. So I was driving down here this morning, I thought to myself, my goodness, been involved as a volunteer, donator, and on the boards off and on since about 2017. We're still awaiting a long-term agreement. I think the Panadero Ski Corp worked in earnest over the last couple of weeks at you, the board's direction, with Carl, to get that thing finalized. And it's not on there today. I'd like to know why that is. Years waiting for that. They are serving the public from youth all the way to every resident in this county at that park that wishes to participate in that place, and they are serving them well. On the 23rd, we had over 150 people. One of the commissioners, Mitchell Wardell, and Carl Young attended that meeting. And I think you'd have to agree when they said, raise any hands if anybody feels this is a good thing to be happening in this park. Did anybody see any hands go up? The answer is no. And then I heard through the grapevine this week that in a conversation with Carl that, well, you know, the letters are coming in and they're about 50-50. Is that accurate, Carl? It is. We'll be filing a Open Records Act. We want to see those letters. The one that I brought in, you're telling us it's numerically significant and it's about 50-50. Is that a fact?
I have not counted.
Aha. Okay. Because I, for one, don't believe it for a second. 150 people up there, all explaining to you, we don't want tiny homes, condos, and it's taken forever to get a copy of the proposal from Buckhorn. It went up on the web either Sunday night or yesterday morning. We finally have had a chance to see it. And
Okay, wrap it up. Yep.
I'm sorry?
Your 3 minutes is up.
My
Just
3 minutes
try to-
is up. Okay,
yeah,
well, I
try to
do
wrap it up.
hope when you come to And here you sit, hoping we can make a change with new commissioners, seeing the same old thing, get it done.
Travis Nelson.
Travis Nelson. Resident of Huerfano County. I just wanted to come out in support of Pandero Ski Corp and the Kuchara Foundation. I'm troubled. If you guys are willing to, basically give this jewel that belongs to our community away, I'd say that you put it in the hands of Pandero and Kuchara Foundation, who over years and years have shown, a commitment to this jewel of our community. And if you are planning on giving it to the lowest bidder, I would ask that you seriously consider that and keep this beautiful park in our community with our people where it belongs. Thank you.
Is that Keith? Or
That's Keith, but I think he signed up for his.
oh, okay, sorry. David Rogers.
That was Lee
Oh,
Johnson.
no, that's reading too, sorry. Bryce Johnson.
Bruce.
Bruce, sorry, I can't read the writing.
My handwriting is missed.
I resemble everyone.
My name is Bruce Johnson, 93 Westbrook Drive, in Kuchera, but with a Levita address. Mr. Young, I think I met with you when you first got hired on doing the history tours of Kuchera. And Mr. Chamberlain, Coach, how old is your daughter now?
15.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Mr. Spore Leader, thank you very much for your support of the theater. And Mr. Wardell, I love your business, your family's business here. It's great. Kuchera is my heart home. I've been coming here all of my life in the summers, and now I'm very lucky to live here year round as a rounder. And I remember all the iterations of the ski area, Dwight Harrison coming in and saying the Kuchera was going to be a little Taos. We were going to have Holiday Inn and all sorts of stuff. And for me, that was the worst news possible. And then each iteration of our ski area lasted shorter and shorter. And I don't understand the people with Buckhorn, why they see this as something viable. We had Red McCombs, who had the deepest pockets in the world. He was the biggest auto dealer I think in the country at the time. And he failed. Can I tell you a little secret? Kuchera's magic is not a panacea that's going to fix and bring in millions of dollars to Huerfano County. I understand as a commission that y'all have Huerfano County to think about. But the magic of Kuchera is the community, the people that love the area, that come to these meetings to protect it. It's the beauty, obviously, but it's all about the community and the quiet. Don't give that away. You can go to Aspen or Red River if you want all that stuff. Kuchera's magic is in its quiet, community-focused things. I've been a part of bingo in the community for decades now. They love just coming in and playing bingo. They don't want all these other things. I hate for it to just go by the wayside and will be another another Red River or other thing. So please, these people with the Panadero Ski Corporation have worked tirelessly. And I was coming down on one of the weekends that it was open, and there was a boys club vehicle in front of me. And I thought, that's what it's all about. These kids coming and getting to ski. Consider not giving it away to Buckhorn. It's a public park. It should remain public.
Jim Lovelace
Jessica.
or Jessica? Okay.
All right, my
Sorry.
I'm Jessica Lovelace, 130 Baker Creek Court in Kachera. I would like to start today by speaking on behalf of the Kachera Foundation. We would like to thank the PSC board and all their hard work throughout the years. They have worked their tails off through fundraising and volunteer work to make the community vision come true with the winter activities. PSC maintains a steadfast approach to create year-round activities that support the vision of the community. The Kachera Foundation Board is ready to support PSC with fundraising efforts to continue the growth of the Kachera Mountain Park that is outlined in the master plan. On a personal note, when I was a little girl, I remember a busy yet charming Kachera. My grandma and many of the other ladies in town had their names painted on the rocking chairs that they could enjoy in the village. And they had plenty of special activities that they could also engage in the community. It is my personal goal to help bring that atmosphere back to life. With that, I again want to state that I am against the commercialization of the Kachera Mountain Park, especially any proposal that includes tiny homes and fire pits, which remove the public use of the mountain park for recreational and educational purposes. It also is going to prohibit the systems that are in place for the activities that we already have, such as the winter activities and the night sky, which we heard about, or the dark skies, which we heard about at the town hall. I appreciate that PSC has listened to the concerns of the community and declared that they do not want to work with Buckhorn.
Annalee Hickey, 2261 County Road 430 in Levita. Again, thanks. I know you guys are all doing a lot of work in the background all the time. It takes a lot of time, and we appreciate your service to the community. I was very happy to see the agenda yesterday when I saw that it looks like there's real progress with PSC. It looks like today, Buckhorn's off the table today. I was a little concerned about some of the secondary concessionaire language in the PSC agreement, but I'm really happy to see that there's some forward movement there. And of course, as you are well aware, I support that, as do most of the people in this room. As I was looking through the agenda yesterday and all of the documentation, there was one thing that really concerned me. I can count on more than two hands the times that I've been told that, mostly by Mr. Young and occasionally by you all, that you all were not in receipt of a proposal from Buckhorn. There was no proposal. Over and over and over and over. After our last meeting, the newspaper reported that their interview with Carl Young said that in September of 2024, Buckhorn approached Commissioner Andrietta about it. There's also been a time or two where I've heard, oh no, they did get their proposal in on time. In the agenda yesterday, or in your board packet, it very clearly states that there was a proposal received prior to October of 23 from Buckhorn, that they were interviewed, that they were scored on the interview, and then they were moved to be a finalist. It actually says that in the memo from Carl Young, in addition to the whole little, you can see the score sheet on there. That is such a concerning thing. Which is it? Why won't you all just say it like it really is? It's very concerning. It sows these seeds of distrust. Again, I'm super happy to see that today Buckhorn is off the table, and I'm super happy to see that you've got something on there with PSC, but it doesn't change this lack of transparency that's happening. And I think that it makes us feel like we have to continue to be watchdogs. And I suppose that's a good thing, to have your community watching you, but we want to trust you, right? We really do. And the same thing goes with these votes around January and February of 24. I watched the video. I read the minutes. The vote was taken. I listened to your exact words in that meeting, Mr. Sport Leader. And then ironically, we couldn't find the meeting from the February meeting, find the video from the February meeting. It's the only one not posted on the YouTube channel. So we asked for it and we were given it, and the whole section of that particular part of the meeting is missing. It hurts to think that there is what at best is just mishaps, but like at worst, like manipulation or fraud, or I don't know. And apparently there's no voice recording of it either. I hope that that's a practice maybe you all might consider changing, having voice recordings of your meetings. I know that a lot of entities do video recording like this, but they also have voice recordings to back that up, because that's forever lost unless one of you all know what happened to it. So again, I thank you for your service, but I really, I look forward to the time where we feel like there's transparency and where we don't have to watch over everything and question all the things that are going on. And I hope that you're able to successfully negotiate a good lease with PSC.
Thank you. Okay, now we're up for appointments. Or is there more online? Yeah.
When he asked if everybody signed up, I raised my hand and you didn't acknowledge me.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
That's right, I'm a small guy, so it's not.
Okay, if you wanna, go ahead.
Okay.
Sure. Deb, approach him, if you wanna sign this and state your name and.
Sure.
It's also showing online.
Shelley, I'm on.
I'm here. This is Shelley Spur. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let's go ahead, Shelley, while you're signing up. Shelley, go ahead.
Thank you very much. And good morning, commissioners. I am a cabin owner at 20 Panadera in Canberra, a living address. I'm a generation cabin owner since 1981. I wanted to commend some of the predecessors who spoke on behalf of PSC and the Huerfano Foundation. They've done an amazing job so far, really living up to the expectations that the community is put together. I have also been a serial contributor to those organizations.
Sorry, I can't
and would love to continue.
Shelley, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Can you, I don't know if you need to be closer to your mic or further away, but to me, there's a lot of distortion.
Okay.
Can you try that again? I'm sorry.
Address. I've been in Canberra since 1981 with my family. I want to agree with the prior comments from just Loveland, Annalee Hickey with regard to the Huerfano Foundation and Canberra School Corporation. Another point I want to make is having a nonprofit work side by side with the for-profit entity, on the same ground with the shared resources, I think is going to end very badly. And I can say that enough as a business person and a banker, it's life with all kinds of disagreements. And I think it will move us backward into progress or whatever eventually happens to our beautiful art. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Gary?
Yes, sir.
Name and address for the record?
My name's Gary Edwards, 55 Cottonwood Road, Cachera, Levita, whatever. First of all, I want to thank you, gentlemen. I've been in your position on more than one occasion. I've served on the board of multinational, multi-billion-dollar companies, Big 12, large school in Big 12, advisory committees, and plus hospital boards and numerous other things. I've realized one thing through the years serving on those committees and boards. You're only good as the information you get. And you sometimes have to go outside the normal realms of communication to get better information. I moved to Cachera 2.5 years ago when I sold my businesses and retired. Get away from the politics, get away from everything. Look where I am today. I can't believe I'm here. But I want you to know something. Cachera, we've been here since 1990. So we're not new to this. We have more than one home here. And I want you to know that any proposal you get showing Huerfano County getting some of the profits, you're never going to see any profits from that place. I'm going to tell you why. It's called accounting. And my son, one of my sons is a CPA accountant, large firm in Dallas. He always says, what do you want to say at the end? And that's true. You will never get $1 back as accounting because they'll always show a loss because that's what accounting's for. Okay? So to expect any kind of revenue from any kind of proposals on the ski corporation, whatever, on the hill, you're only fooling yourself. Oh, by the way, I'm going to say something positive for you. Jerry Sportage. Outstanding, awesome, amazing. He's been working with me for 2 years to try to fix one of the 2 worst roads in Cachera. And I think he's got it about closely done. That was about 3 weeks ago. And I want you to know he's an outstanding asset to this community and to this board. So with that being said, I just want you to know I'm totally against any kind of change as far as profiteering for the ski resort area up there. And one thing that I'm just going to say this, get it out there because nobody wants to talk about it, but it's going to be tied up in litigation for a long time. Not by me, but I've been approached by people asking me to donate money for a fund. And you're looking at 2 to 3 years, and how many county services will be? Because you're looking at spending $200,000 probably minimum in legal fees because of the ideas it was given to the county on the terms it was given, and those being litigated for 2 to 3, 4 years. I don't like that. I hate lawyers. Hope there's not one in here. Hope there's not one in here. But y'all, that's a reality y'all have to face. And the county is in no position, I think, financially to have those kind of expenditures when we have so many other services that are needed more desperately. I'm just suggesting give it back to the foundation, rid your hands of it, your headache, and be done with it. Because you're not going to make any money on it. I don't understand why y'all don't want to do that. As a business person, thank you for your time today. Thank you for your services, all your service. Carl, everything you do, the 3 commissioners, I don't know any of you personally, but I've been where you're at. And I thank you for your time, sir, because it's a thankless job. Thank you.
Oh, your name? Any more online or Samus? Anybody else in the room? Okay, on to appointments.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Sandy
Sandy.
Black, 733 County Road, 358, Levita. I don't need anything. I want to tell you about good stuff. Have dissolved Watay Heritage Foundation that I did a lot of events for and came under the umbrella of Spanish Peaks Community Foundation. So underneath the umbrella of Spanish Peaks Community Foundation, we have Fox Theater, we have Watay Heritage Foundation. So we can do some really good work and do it under the 501c3 and they get more for the county and the community. Fox Theater, we keep wanting it to be open. We thought it was going to be May, June, October, and we keep getting what Mike calls gut punches that another $1 million here, another $1 million there, $1 million being that they haven't anticipated, which now we have to take off plaster that was covered up asbestos. So stuff like that keeps going on and on. That's concerning. But I always find a silver lining. The county had purchased the little building next door to the Fox Theater. Fox Theater 715 Main, building next door 711 Main. And we're I'm calling it our gap year. Things we wanted to do with the 711 building, we're going to do now while we're waiting for the Fox Theater. Now we're probably a year out from reopening. And kind of have done the big fox and the little fox. The little fox is going to be so cool. We want to do some kid programming. I've got some money to do kid programming. I'm excited about it because I'm all about arts and culture and kids. And this is back to the realm that I'm pretty good at finding money for. And I found some money. So we've got projects starting there. And when we call it the 7-Eleven, it always sounds like a drug deal coming down. Okay, we'll meet the 7-Eleven, park in the alley, to come in the back door. So that didn't work. But the little fox, I think, works just fine. So one of the grants that I got from Colorado Health Foundation was to get some help for Mike and I. And I usually don't play off on the fact that Mike's the gimp in the wheelchair. I'll be 80 years old next week. So we needed some help. So got a grant to pay for a little bit of help. Have Josie Boynton coming on, who's just awesome. She gets the big picture. She gets the county. She gets the community. Got great roots here. She's helping us. Julia Young's helping us. Don't have a lot of money for him, but it's a start. So we've got Julia and Josie coming on. The Little Fox can not only be a place for some of our summer programs and kind of hope to work with the most disenfranchised kids. I love middle school boys because they're floundering. So the more kids that are disengaged that we can engage in, I think the better. So kind of that's going to be our target. It can be a community music place. The way we're getting it redone, we can hang a big screen TV on one of the walls and probably put maybe as many as 30 chairs and still do some Wednesday afternoon matinees and old movies. So we can do a lot of stuff. I've got coming up at the end of June, another little grant to do more culture embroidery classes for elders here, Huerfano County. So I'm going to have my culture embroidery classes down there. So already we've got really good things happening with the Little Fox. I've got a traditional arts and craft grant from Colorado Creative Industries that has been fun. It's not much money. It's only $3,000, but I divided it in 3 ways. One is to support the Fandango dancers. I love the Fandango. They've been around since 1938. They're trying to raise money to go to El Paso. I'm paying them $500 each for 3 performances. So that helps them, that helps me, that helps our community. They're such ambassadors. Mariachi de Monte Band from Pueblo played at the Burning Man celebration we did last year, and they said they were interested. The leader, David Benavides, said he was interested in starting a mariachi group here in Huerfano County and would be willing to come down and work with us. So we did a program out in Gardner. And then this one, Friday morning at the community center at 10 o'clock, he's doing a community event, and we're inviting all the kids, partnering with Spanish Peaks Library and Mrs. Flamingo, SCCY, inviting the kids, inviting the community, and we're going to do another Mariachi de Monte presentation. And he's a master teacher. And the lead of their group is 7 years old. She's an incredible musician. She just melts your heart. And what he does is involve the kids, gets them up, gets them moving. In Gardner, we have the teachers and the community members all shading and moving too. So if any of you want to come Friday morning, 10 o'clock, community center. Let's eat a little money out of other things. So the Fandango and Mariachi can actually perform separately and then perform together at Portfest, because we're going to be able to support some of the performers at Portfest. So that's a good thing. And then Lathrop Park loves having things in their amphitheater, and the amphitheater is wonderful, but they can't pay anybody to perform down there. So I'm paying the Fandangos, and June 14th, they're going to perform at the amphitheater in Lathrop. So all this is just really cool stuff. Kind of going down my calendar. August 9th, I'm going to have a community pop-up that has to do with the cookbook. We're going to hear a bunch about the cookbook. And then September 6th, we're going at, this is the community center here in Walsenburg. And September 6th, the community center in Walsenburg, we're going to do another Burning Man event, and we're calling it Hombre de Fuego. And it was such a good thing for the community last year. And we built a 6-foot-high effigy that was stuffed with sage and sweetgrass and burned to purify and really release stuff. This year, we're building maybe an 8-foot one. And we will have the lighting of that and ceremony around that. So that's going to be on September 6th. It's the day before the harvest moon. So we're kind of going to build around the sharing of the harvest. So that's those things. Then the cookbook. Last year, we published the first volume of Huerfano Heritage Cookbook. Got the first copies in August, have sold over 800 copies. It is so successful. But I got about halfway through this one, I thought, well, we need volume 2. So we're working on volume 2. I'm in hopes that it's going to be ready by, I said August 9th, because we couldn't get the community center for the weekend before the 250th anniversary, the 150th anniversary of Colorado, of United States, Colorado, and then the 150th of Huerfano County. But really, Huerfano County is older than that. We're about 165. So it's a celebration. They have indicated they got a pot load of money to support this 250, 150 thing. They loved our first cookbook. So I've submitted to them to see if they will fund the second cookbook. I've got enough money to do it if they don't. But I want to spend the money on something else. So we'll see. I think they'll fund it. Collecting recipes, and I'm going to ask all of you guys, if you want, contact me. I'll put up the chart. Send the community center, bring some collect recipes. I didn't get anything from the chart last night. So we're building it around traditions. The further back we can go, I'll have a scanner. If you've got old pictures, I can scan the old pictures. And if you see our first cookbook, it's just not just a cookbook. It's a history book, it's a story book, it's a picture book. And this is even going to be better. So volume 2 coming up. I've got sheets about that. I've got sheets about the mariachi thing. We're just rocking and rolling and doing big stuff, and don't need anything today. Thank you.
Today.
Thank you, Sandy.
So you guys all need to give me recipes. Okay? It's a deal.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. And you do a great job. Really appreciate it.
I love what I do, and who I do it for, and where I do it. It makes it easy.
Amen. Okay. Next in line, Chair Mountain Park Grant Project. Well, this one doesn't work, right?
You want to set the podium?
Well, yeah, do you need a lot of space or
Well, no,
get it back to
you
you?
guys have questions, I can pull up some answers here.
Your letter.
And we're fine here as well. Well, I'm presuming you want to talk about the DOLA grant application and the agreement we've been going back and forth with Carl on. So I'm going to address that. My name is John Hoteling with Panadero Ski Corp.
This is Mike Williams. He's also a board member of Panadero Ski Corp. And before I start, I want to correct one thing that Jess said earlier that is not true. She gave a good talk, but at the very end, she said Panadero Ski Corp doesn't want to work with Buckhorn. That's not correct. What we oppose is Buckhorn's proposal to us. One, because it doesn't reflect community values, and two, because it has nothing coming back to the park itself to help pay for all these expensive things going forward. So we're open to anybody that wants to come in and invest in the park, as long as the benefit is to the park and to the people. And his current proposal doesn't do that. So just to set that record straight. Go ahead, Carl.
So when I spoke to your attorney, he said that you guys didn't work with him at all. Tell me something a little bit different.
We just talked about this very issue last night, and we're opposed to the proposal. But if Buckhorn came back with something that was obviously beneficial to the park, we wouldn't turn it away.
So just so you know, I emailed Brett yesterday and told him that, because we heard that from you, that we weren't going to move forward with considering this proposal. So if you guys wanted something different, we can talk about it once we're in the contract and maybe we can figure it out. But from my end at least, this was dead once we found out you guys didn't want to move forward with it.
So let me speak up. I don't think we believe in the modular units on the mountain. Any other proposals that you might want to bring up to help the place out? Great, but the tiny homes logistically won't work. Let's keep it short.
Sounds good.
And we intend whatever proposals that come be taken on a case-by-case basis. But the number one factor needs to be that it benefits the park, that something comes back to the park. Because it is expensive. The most expensive part about it is Chair 4 and the snowmaking, which is what this grant addresses. And so getting into the grant right now, just for people's background information, this grant is one of 3 grants that Panadero Ski Corp with the county as co-applicants on it have qualified for. This one, as far as the infrastructure goes, is the most important because the other grants we can't spend on actual capital improvements like we need to on for Chair 4. So the proposal that we got from Carl, I think it came to the board on February 3rd. We saw it about a month and a half later, and we've been working on it, since then. The reason why the numbers shifted were several reasons. One, the actual match from DOLA wasn't in there. It was 180,000 total, but only 80 was from DOLA. So DOLA with the 1-to-1 match could be 90 of that. So we bumped up DOLA's portion of it to 90 instead of 80. And then as far as the county's commitment to it and our commitment to it, the reason why we put in for 15 is because to maximize the 180 in the proposal. But since that time, the cost of the whole project has gone up quite a bit. Like everything else in this world, prices are going up. It costs more money. And so now the price of the whole rehab is probably about $40,000 to $50,000 greater than what we originally thought over a year ago, or closer to 60. And so we're anticipating that we're going to be the ones to cover up or to cover that shortfall, because the DOLA grant, as it's written right now, won't cover the whole thing. However, we think we can definitely get private donations for it, especially when we have the long-term agreement and people are willing to invest in us because they know we'll be around for a while. So that's the why those numbers shifted. Not because we're not committed to it, but because we recognize that we're going to have to raise another $50,000 or $60,000. So our all-in on that project is going to be like $60,000 to $75,000, and so that's why it was organized that way as well. So, any other questions about that?
Well, one thing I was wondering, can you hear me? Because
Yes.
one thing I was wondering about that I thought originally you had said that you were going to be able to raise the 60,000, and now we have 15.
And just not to be rude, but I think you just explained that, but the original cost of our project has gone up almost $60,000 since the grant was applied for.
Well, in my mind, that would
have
have doubled that price then instead of the original.
Right.
So it would have been, so now it should have been 120 as opposed to the 60. Because the amount of money that you're asking for from the county has gone up substantially.
It has, where it was originally, the numbers were in there, it had $22,000 coming from the county. It had 63 coming from us and just 22 coming from the county. And to fill that shortfall, to be able to pay for the whole thing, that's why we shifted it that way. And that was also one of the reasons why we requested a workshop to talk about this, because if there's room in the other DOLA funds, maybe from the deck or from, if we can save money on the roof, we can spend some of that money on Chair 4. And so that was the intention of having a workshop on it, so we could discuss these things so we get to the final goal.
So the DOLA grants, it's not committed to X project, Y project, Z project, right? It doesn't break it out that kind of way.
It does. Yeah, it has Chair 4 rehab in it. It has the garage roof in it, and it has.
I deal with a lot of these.
Has the deck.
DOLA doesn't care. As long as we're talking about things that are in the application, if we have to put something off and say, all right, we need to take off of the grant, or we're not going to do this part because we want to focus on this part.
Yeah,
they're fine with that.
Okay, great. That was the discussion we were hoping to have in the workshop, where we could fill in this funding shortfall because the costs have gone up so much. So if we can pull from other parts of it, that would help greatly as well.
So the cost of the lift before was 180. So now you're thinking it's more like 240.
Yeah. And that also includes, because of the nature of what we're doing and the vendors knowing that, we don't have a long-term agreement, they're requesting half up front as a deposit to it. So we need to come up with 125,000 to get them on that mountain and start work.
Okay.
And I'll add, we're not starting from zero here. This has been several years in the works here. And so we have the vendors, lined up who can do it. Part of the increased cost is the post-engineering report that we'll pay for as well. And that's a requirement of the tram board. So everything just got more expensive the longer that this has been going on.
So part of the reason why I'm asking some of this question and why I want to talk to you guys today is because we need to figure out the business end of the county's match, which we might hope is to sell that later today. So the commissioners had questions about sort of what the financial outlook is, and you guys just answered that. So I guess my next question is, do you want to put as much of the grant as possible towards the lift? Or do you want to reserve some for and we're already underway for the roof. I think that does need to get done before that gets worse. But do you want to put the majority of the grant towards the lift, or do you want to reserve some for the deck and the door? Because the deck is going to be more too, because our engineer at least thinks the whole thing needs to be replaced. That was his recommendation.
Yeah.
My opinion is the roof on the pump house, a new door, and that lift. The deck doesn't have to be rebuilt the way it is now. I know it's a big project.
Yeah.
We can, just me, I wouldn't put that big deck back. I wouldn't spend that money on that.
Okay.
I would fix, tear down and put something else in its place, but nothing. It doesn't have to be replaced actually.
And I will add too, like our fundraising has been effective by just going month to month or year to year on this. I think we'll be much more successful in raising part or whole of that spending gap when we have a long-term agreement, because people know we're going to be around and they know we're not going to get kicked to the curb, so to speak. So I think there'll be more confidence, and this is the season where most of our fundraising comes into play, with the first Chair Festival coming up. And I think the community is going to be and is delighted about our kids camps that are going on up there. I think there'll be more visibility. You guys have seen all the press that we've been able to help generate this year. And so I think there's only more and more things going on. I mean, you could ask Anna Lee and Mike Moore as well. Their business has gone up in the wintertime. They're open longer. They have less vacancies because there's more activity going on up there. So I think the excitement that will be generated from signing the long-term agreement will help us fill that funding gap through fundraising. And Kuchara Foundation has offered to help us do that fundraising as well, which we're very grateful.
Okay, do you have anything specific?
Yeah, so, our concern mainly is from the county perspective on matching that grant. Currently, we are in the middle of several capital projects, and we did not budget for 65,000. Having known about this probably back in December, we could have budgeted it, but at the moment, we're kind of scratching our heads as to where we're going to find the funds for that. Which is honestly why I think we should consider working with someone like Bratton Rock, because the state has told us that we're not getting any more energy impact grants, right?
We're not going to what?
Getting any more energy impact grants. So at least for 2 years, and even if we were to get grants, matching it becomes more and more difficult for us because we have a jail that needs repair. We're working on a new emergency management system. We've got road and bridges that need fixing. So we have multiple things that we need to direct our funds for that are probably a little bit more important. And it's not that that's not important. I think it's very important. It's just that we're stretched thin. So I don't know if we want to continue to have conversations with Buckhorn and bring them back to the table and say, hey, here's what, and the reason we haven't rejected his proposal outright is because we've only heard from a small portion of the community. We haven't heard from the people in Walsenburg, right? We haven't heard from the people in Gardner. So our intent is to put out a public comment for the whole thing, which is why we haven't put PSC's deal on the agenda today, is because we want to hear from the community as a whole, because it's a county park. Everybody that pays taxes in this county has a piece in that park. And I haven't heard from the majority of them yet. That's why we want to put on workshops both in Walsenburg and in Gardner and Vita, Kuchera, and in the surrounding communities, because we want to hear from them. It's starting to get big enough that, what do you guys want us to do with this park? Because we can't just give it away. We can't just sell it, right? Too much money has been invested at this point. About $300,000 taxpayer match money has been spent on the park. That's why we are considering, okay, we need to talk to everybody. That's why it seems like we're not wanting to sign a long-term agreement. We do, but we also want to hear from the entire community.
Sure. That's it. Well, and the agenda that I read at 9E in the correspondence section does have our long-term agreement in it, plus a memo from Carl recommending that you guys go with PSC. And hopefully you guys will have a vote on that to support it or put it out for public consumption at that.
Yeah, we're gonna, before we make a vote, before we make a decision, we're putting it out public comment because we want to hear from the community. What do you want to do?
That's great. And that's why that's the section in the long-term agreement that anything that major that happens like that, and the public will be informed. There will be a 30-day period on it. And that's perfectly in line with what our intentions are as well. We're working for the public. We're working for you guys as representatives of the public, but it's the public that owns that park, and we're just stewards of it.
Hold on, Jeff. Hold on. One of the things also with the help me understand why, because when we had gotten together before, and I'd specifically asked you guys about working with another entity, Buckhorn or whatever, and said, you guys go work with him and see how about working together on things, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and we did that.
And you said yes. You said yes, you would work with him. You'd go through the different things, and then we were out of it. We were just letting you guys work through your deals, and all of the comments about the backroom deals and all that kind of thing was not correct. we were letting you guys do the negotiations with each other on how to run the park. And yes, there was a couple of different ideas, and he said, hey, I overstep and I'll do a little bit different and let you guys have everything in the ski park and do everything that you wanted to do. Is that correct? That it was in a general sense. I'm not cutting hairs here. But in a general sense, you guys said, you guys agreed that it was going to be separate but distinct, correct?
Yeah.
And he brought in some of his ideas about the small homes or
The luxury.
they're like basically more firmed up yurts, which the yurts were in the original master plan that had all of that.
Glamping was, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit different building in that as opposed to a yurt. It was a more solid building. Is that what you would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So it's kind of going along the same lines of previously, but did you talk to him about you don't want those type of buildings, or did you just say we're shutting it down, we're done, and we want everything to stop because we don't want anything with him, period?
But we met with him several times, and he met with Kuchara Foundation, and the proposal did keep changing to that. But what we've seen most recently, and we figured that that's sort of his bottom line, is to do the proposal that has literally nothing coming back to the park to help sustain things. Nor does it account for all the interference that could happen with ski operations up there. How is he going to get his guests up to those luxury, tiny homes through the whole thing? All of that, none of that was addressed in any of it. And so as the proposal stands right now, we would be against it. But like I said before, we're not against Buckhorn, specifically. We're just looking and think the community expects us to go for plans that directly benefit the park, maintain the character of the park itself, and also, more closely conform with the master plan.
So, if I may,
Go ahead, no.
I had a meeting with Ken and Brett. It's been more than a month ago now, and I sort of was trying to see, all right, are we deconflicted? Is everything okay on both of these sides? That's fine. And we never started negotiating with Brett because the idea of accepting net cash is not something I'm about to do. If someone's going to lease something from me and make a profit off it, I want rent. I want a reliable amount of money every single month, not a net profit thing. I mean, that's great and all, but so we never entered into negotiations with him. We just got a proposal and put it forward. That said, part of me is also like, we should just finish the deal with you guys and then consider what we want to consider afterwards. I don't know. It's also up to the commission, not up to me, but
Well, in all of our meetings with Brett, I think I've been in on most of them. The last one that we met in person, he said, I'm taking the money off the table for you guys, because you're taking away something I want here. And you can't make that park work for taking, giving the profits to somebody else.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he has nothing for coming back to the park, nothing for us, why would we want to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we had that whole section in the park about mutual agreement. Yeah, because I think people have the expectation that this would have just been the county negotiating with them one-on-one. And that's not, I think, what any of us ever intended. We intended that the county and PSC are going to find an agreement that's mutually beneficial so that we can make sure that the park has what it needs. Because the whole idea of even entertaining this when it first came up, and there are emails that discuss it, is we want that revenue to go to you guys.
Yeah, and I'll point out that you're the one that put in that language, and we were very grateful that you did. And that to us, that's consistent with the type of partnership we're hoping to have long-term with the county as well.
I think the important thing here to me is, what Jim said, just let's bring this home. I feel like we're very close on this list and everything.
Yeah.
Let's bring it home and be set for the next 40-ish years to make this place the best thing it can be.
Amen.
Okay, let me finish the thought real quick. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. If you go ahead and come and state a question. Or go to the mic.
Jim Littlefield, 58 Cedar Ridge, Kachara. My question is, if you go down this path, PSC, even a partial way with Buckhorn, how do we continue to raise the funding that we've been able to raise over the years, and it continues to come in, donations from private citizens, monies from people like Louis Bacon Board, monies from the cabins, R&I. That's the stuff that's helped us get where we are. I listened to the shortfall of 65,000 or wherever we are in terms of shortfall. It's going to be hard for us to go back to the public after you post the proposal that was on your website yesterday. Luxury, there's going to be an attendant that takes them up there. I mean, people are going to be incensed. We're going to turn around and say, look, there's a profit-making entity in here, and you're going to ask us for money? It makes no sense. They pay their taxes here, and I understand you've contributed, but those people have contributed a lot and continue to do so. And they work hard at BSC to try to keep those lift ticket prices low, give kids free Fridays. That's their whole underlying driving motivation. And I understand they've tried to work with that, but I look at that and I think, luxury, you don't want to hide up there. I don't care if they're little lean-tos or whatever they are. It's just going to be hard to justify that. You're going to post this proposal for 30 days, you're set. Everybody's going to see it. The people aren't even here yet that are here in the summer. They're the ones that are going to be incensed a lot more than the 150 that turned up at that meeting. So, again, I harken back to what I said earlier. Get enough information. Why are you putting the Buckhorn thing up there? I just think it's a bad move on his part.
So, you know, when I spoke to your attorney, and again, I spoke to Ken a little bit last night, what I said was that basically I would couch that public comment in the phrase of, the county's not considering this right now, but do you want us to consider in the future things of this nature? Because I think we need to know what the entire public wants about what's for this park, right? And I think it's a great example of, all right, this is a proposal that we received. Should we have things like this in the future? It's not a matter of, are we going to go ahead and run through it? It's a matter of, what is it? Because I'll tell you what I think, you know, and maybe I missed the emails and maybe my county is off. Who knows? We'll find out when they finish the core requests and count on their own. I thought I saw more requests for transparency than anything else. And that's why the commissioners started me to post, what was it, about a month ago?
Yeah.
A thing saying that we would do a 30-day public comment period because people ask for transparency above all else. So if you want transparency when you think you're getting something that you don't want for when you think you're going to get something that you do want. And at the end of the day, I've gone through a whole bunch of public comment periods in this county. I suspect that public comment period is going to make our final agreement even stronger. And I think it's also going to rally people from across this county to support PSC. You know, a lot of the county doesn't know what's going on up there. So to have you guys come with us and do these town halls and talk to people, it's only going to end up being better. You know?
Absolutely. If I may bounce off of that. And Jim, I heard everything that was said at that meeting, 102 people there. And I understand. I heard you loud and clear. But also understand there are 7,000 residents in this county, all of which have a part in that park. I have to hear from all of them before I make a decision. That's why we're going to be doing public comment in Walsenburg and in Gardner and in Vida and in Kachara. Because everybody that pays taxes has a part in that park.
So just for clarification, you're gonna put us on the 30-day public comment as well?
Yeah, that's what we had promised to report, but
Our agreement is up 1st of May. How do we proceed?
I think we proceed. I mean, my expectation is that we're going to, and the question is not if we're entering the agreement, it's that the public knows about it and we're going to proceed. I mean, I don't foresee opposition to PSC. I just don't. And maybe it's lack of imagination, but, you know, I think everyone that I've talked to in the county that knows what you guys have been doing is behind you. So for me, I don't see public comments shifting behind PSC except for anything more towards support. So I think we're in a good shape to go, and just that the new agreement will be effective May 1st, so it picks up.
Well, the reason I'm asking is, I'd like to get some, my son started up there, we got mountain biking stuff starting and electric bike programs, and there's a lot of money involved tying that stuff up, and scared to spend it until we know what's happening for sure.
Well,
And spending the other grant dollars too, we don't know exactly what we're getting into, so.
well, from a lot of the different community events that I attend and people that I talk to, the majority of them, I have nothing but praise for what PSC is doing.
All right.
So
Thank you.
if that's any consolation.
You bet.
I mean, I would say go ahead and go with it. Like I said, I can't imagine anything we get in public comment that says don't enter into agreement with PSC.
I've never seen anything about that we would not do something with PSC.
Okay.
I mean, I've never even entertained that idea, and we've never see anything out there that said that we weren't going to do it, just other than the outrage that from, people that have manufactured a lot of stuff. The biggest deal that I see is that I keep questioning is we talk about economics. Okay, and grants only last so long. All of these little things are a lot of times one-offs. But if you want to build something, it's economics 101. If you want to build something that's going to have long-standing resiliency, you have to be able to fund it yourself. The county can't do it. We don't have the money for it. We had to lay off people a couple of years or a year and a half ago because we didn't have enough money in the county. We didn't have to lay off people last year because we did a huge change in our insurance program to save some money to be able to keep that stuff. And so now we'd love to fund this. We'd love to be, was it Crested Butte or whatever that county is that they fund their ski resort with like $700,000 a year. Great. We don't have that kind of money. So what we'd love to do is have something that's going to bring infrastructure into this county all over. We're working on things down here in Walsenburg as well. But to have something that's in that area, I think too many people would bring the economics up. I think too many people are operating from a poverty mindset that says, if somebody else is going to make money, it's going to take it away from me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
Economics 101 is that when you bring more people, more money into an area, all boats rise. It's not a zero-sum game where you lose at one place and somebody else is going to make all the money. So I don't understand, and help me understand, how is it that when you guys run out of grants and all of the volunteers that are, and trust me, you guys have done an amazing job. This has been an incredible deal. But when everybody starts getting a little bit too old to go up and run a chainsaw, and they start moving away or dying, and then we have an economic structure in this county where the kids can't stay here and make a living. So where are you going to get the volunteers when people are leaving from the county? So economically, we need to have growth in this county. And I'm not saying Buckhorn's the only deal. I'm saying he was one of he seemed pretty agreeable to change in many different ways. And I don't know if that was the last proposal that you guys had or not, but that was for you guys to work with. But how are you going to get past when grant funding dries up? The federal government's $36 trillion in debt. Colorado's $1.5 billion in debt.
Yeah.
Where are the grants coming from?
Well,
Yeah, private. There's going to be a lot of private ones.
we'll certainly continue to apply for grants, but you're right, they're few and far between. But what the SE group pointed out in their master plan is by far the best net revenue generator up there will be year-round tubing. There's lots of case studies from Frisco, from Monarch, from other places, that if we can do that, that margins on that will be the kind of revenue it will take to fill in some of the gaps. The lift ticket, the number of lift tickets we sell will go up, once that chair is running. But we're planning on that being a break-even proposition because it's hugely expensive. I think I mentioned to you guys before, in 8 years from now, we're going to have to come up with another $250,000 to pay for a new haul rope on there. We have to do it every 10 years. And so we're, planning for that now, tucking some away. But the revenue generators up there that'll all go back into the park, not into somebody else's pocket. All the profits from PSC go back to the park. So the bike rentals, which we're preparing for this summer, the year-round tubing, which will hopefully kick off this winter, those are going to be the kind of net revenue generators that will help supplement all the other costs up there. But you're right, we need more people. And I'll tell you, the volunteers we couldn't have done any of this without the volunteers that are up there. Everybody on that mountain every Saturday and every Sunday, except for the snowcat driver, is a volunteer giving up their weekends to do it. So we've got people coming in from Trinidad State College. We've got people coming in from Denver, from Colorado Springs, from Pueblo. Not only the ski patrol, but just people just loading up the ski bus or pounding in.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's a true community effort. And so we realize we need to continue to hire. We've got 3 positions out there to be funded with the OEDIT grant money that's coming in. But we're going to have to keep building this momentum so people are excited about showing up. One of the best sources of volunteers we've gotten is doing our ski movie every in Trinidad and at Cuchara Mountain Park, where people get excited about getting involved in something. And the fact they can come up there, volunteer for a half a day, and their kid can ski for free the other half of the day. Those are the kind of things that are helping make it go. And for 3 years now, attendance has gone up, tickets have gone up, everything has gone up. It might not be as fast as some people hope, but for a nonprofit model, I think we're demonstrating that it is successful and will be successful.
Mr. Chair.
Okay. Ken Clayton online? Ken?
Yeah, Ken Clayton, 711 Panadero. I want to echo what John and Mike have been up there saying. And just to elaborate on a comment you made, Commissioner Sporlatter, we have publicly changed our tune. There is a lack of trust on our side that we have been working with you to overcome, but the history between the county and PSC has been checkered. And so we walked into that room basically with a fear that you were going to go with Brett and throw us out of there. I love the fact that you guys have all publicly now stated that, you want to do something with PSC, but our history goes back and says, we've been shut down on more than one occasion from not you guys, but previous commissions. And so we took a very neutral stance, but, we want to, and in the beginning, we were shown a proposal that had money coming back to the park. The last one we were shown had 0 money coming back to the park. So why would we want to participate in that and have someone coming in and taking the money that needs to go back into that park, as John just described? So yes, you're correct in calling out that we've changed our tune, but we've changed our tune because you put us in a pretty uncomfortable position a couple months ago. And so that's, I appreciate the progress we've made, but we had no option but to walk in there agreeable to whatever you guys were asking for.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
So we good?
Mr. Chair.
Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. You're in the silhouette. I don't even see you. Go ahead and come, Mike.
My name is Charles Morris. I live at 112 West Virginia in Levita. I just wanted to state, I've worked in nonprofits. I'm not working in nonprofits right now, but I've worked in nonprofits a long time. The characterization that, grants dry up, that is true, but there's always other sources of funding and other grants and fundraisings that can be found. And I also think that the characterization that all of the volunteers are going to die and then, what are you going to do after that is a little ridiculous. I think that, people do move to Huerfano County. I think they stated they're getting volunteers from other places. I think that that's a little ridiculous to state that, what are you going to do when all of your volunteers are too old to help? I think that they will find new volunteers and that the older volunteers will help in other ways. Thank you.
And I will say, duly noted, I was not trying to say that it's an absolute. So I do agree that there will be new people, but I was just trying to make the illustration that there will be a harder time to get people in this county if everything dries up and we can't fund things and the county can't fund things. So that's a big lift to make sure that people are here. So hopefully, apologize for being too dramatic maybe, but so anyway, anything else?
I just have a statement if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, and John, we're meeting you before. So bottom line for everybody here in the audience, I'm the new guy. This is my 4th month on the board. I did sit on some meetings prior to that after I'd been elected, but not been sworn in. With this whole thing going on. The initial agreements that were made in 2017, this is not a continuation of those. It's something that's new. If I'm wrong, correct me.
So I don't think you're wrong, but I do want to, we've gone through a little weird history of PSC. There's when PSC was first created and they were raising money specifically for the lift, the Up the Hill group. And then there was a time when we were considering Monster Ventures, and then sort of in the aftermath of that falling apart, and just before I think you guys were on the board, Kale Dancho and Will Perkey and I came up with a concept that the commissioners and the PSC board accepted at the time, which was that we would try to work on a grant, GoCo grant, see if we would get it. And if we did get it, the part would go straight to PSC and we'd be done with this after that. And if we didn't get it, we'd put it back out for RFP because at the time, PSC didn't have, and maybe Kale and Will and other folks would disagree here, they feel like they had the confidence to actually maintain the park full time, on their own. I think that as PSC kept running the park, that definitely changed. But we were sort of left in a situation where we were going to, where we had promised to put it out for bid again. So we did. And I guess I wasn't expecting to get a second bid in there from anyone else because the first time we only got the one proposal. We did. They didn't complete the process. We were done, at least in my head, in January, skipping over Christmas and New Year's, but we were done, we were ready to go. And then this whole drama about transferring the park came up, and then this drama and that drama and that drama. So, like I said, I don't think you're wrong, but it has been a lot of fits and starts and lots of passions as well. But I think we're finally there to get this done and get this rolling. So I hope we don't lose sight of that.
Can I ask a clarification question?
Okay.
Jess Lovelace, 130 Baker Creek Court in Kachera. Are you saying that the agreement it's null and void for the agreement to say that this is open for public and recreational use as stated in that agreement. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, what I'm trying to say, and I haven't been able to finish my train of thought yet,
Okay.
is that we support Panadero Ski Corporation.
Okay.
I grew up in the area. I've been in Huerfano County for 41 years. And there's this contention that people are trying to say that the Board of County Commissioners is just going to do this and we're not going to listen to anybody and it's a done deal. And it's not a done deal, whether Buckhorn continues or not, which we are up to, doing exactly what Panadero Ski Corporation wants. If they don't want Buckhorn, then Buckhorn's out of it. But we're still going to work with Panadero Ski Corporation, and we're not going to do anything or make any agreements with anyone, including Panadero, until we have an agreement that's mutually beneficial to Panadero and to Huerfano County and to the citizens of Huerfano County.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, but
So, okay, anything else from you? Like that, John?
I don't think so. I guess one other thing I would point out is that, we are on the front end of a change in the whole ski industry. The whole ski industry is getting older. It's getting price prohibitive for everybody else. The whole industry wants there to be small places like this where kids can come learn at a low cost and get involved. And so I think we're perfectly positioned the way the industry is going to really make a go out of this. And if we succeed, it will be the first time in the history of Colorado that we will have succeeded at this. So my hope is that other places around the state will look at this as a case study where it's a coming together of private landowners, the county, and a nonprofit model that's consistent with what SC Group is recommending. And so I think we're on the front end of something very big that's not only going to benefit Huerfano, but the whole state of Colorado.
Okay. All right.
So I would like to state that I really do care about this community, right? So Cuchera, my family has a long history. My great-grandfather built a cabin up there in 1936. I think it was. It's up on what people call Lubbock Hill. My uncle still owns that cabin, okay? So the All Seasons Realty building right there, that was my grandfather's cabin, right? So my grandparents were there. If you go into the park that's down there by the Hermosa building, you walk in and see a bench that sits right there. It says, in loving memory of Mary Carper and Catherine Thomas. That was my grandmother and my aunt. Okay. In the Hermosa building, there's a picture of a man looking at a mule. That's my grandfather. Okay. I care about this community. And it does hurt when the community out there, this that I'm talking about, doesn't care about that community. So I really do. And most recently, I lost my best friend skiing on that mountain because he was skiing up there and he was killed coming back from that mountain. We all remember it. He was the lineman that was killed last year. So it's been a very emotionally draining experience for people to tell me that I do not care about the community. I really, really do. Okay. So, and I appreciate what you're doing. In fact, the last text message that I got from my friend was him telling me, hey, I'm going to go check out the new ski area. And I said, sweet, let me know how it is. And I never heard back. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing back there, up there. From our standpoint, we're just trying to figure out how to fund it, right? That's why we're having conversations with Craig. That's why we're having these conversations. Okay?
Yep.
So just know that I don't want to kick you guys off the mountain. I want you to stay. Okay?
And nobody ever did. My mom, we have family cabins up there as well. My mom's placard for memorial for her death is at the Cuchera Chapel at the bottom of that for, we have history as well. So there's nothing, it's amazing how much has come out of it. I mean, we've discussed these things with certain people in the audience for hours and answered questions. And then the next day it went completely, it's like, what did we talk about? It's amazing how much has come out of the hearsay and I heard and it's not happening.
It's been disappointing, that aspect for sure.
Yeah. And then getting letters from attorneys. Yeah, it's usually like, okay, stop it all. We'll see what happens. So cool down on the rhetoric. We're here to be a part of everything. And there's nothing that is going on that you guys haven't been a part of. So with that, I guess we're done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'll be in touch, guys. We're in great shape to move forward.
Are you still gonna talk about the 9E on the correspondence section?
I mean, that was just like a transmittal so that it can be in the public. I don't know if there's.
There was a memo dated today in there from you recommending that the board put it out, put it out for public consumption.
Yeah, so unless you guys give me other direction, I'll put out for public comment. But do you?
No, we will. Public comment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we want to hear from the whole county.
And I'll be in touch to let you guys to talk about scheduling, so you guys can be there as well. And we can make this happen.
Okay. When, assuming everything goes well, when do you think the soonest we could get that document signed?
30
days from today?
Yeah, ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, ish.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. And I guess we have 2 hands up in online.
Aristotle was first and then Eddie.
Okay, Aristotle. I can't hear you.
Sorry, it takes a while for the delay to happen, to come in. Thank you, Aristotle Karras from the Fort Condos in La Vita, Colorado, and former golf course owner of Grandote Peaks. And I just want to say it's really exciting to see this format, and I know it's a lot of complication that's happening. And sorry I was not able to be there in person this week, but I think that the community speaks for lack of frustration about the governmental control of what they're wanting to do and how it's going and back and forth. I'm curious to the fact that if the county actually would, transfer the control over to the Cuchara Mountain Resort, then the board and acting as a nonprofit would then have, control to do what's best for the community. That was, originally in the discussion when this was created, and how it's been there. And that, I think, is maybe a solution so that we don't have, different commissioners that are coming in that are, for or against or this flip-flop of back and forth. That way, the board of the Cuchara Mountain Resort would then have control over, what is done with the park for it and to set up, and then also, would take something off of your plate being the county commissioners of having to deal with, and then you could focus on other community matters for it. But that's my question, is why hasn't that transferred over to it? And that was the original, intention when I was working back with the county, in 2017, 2017, 2018, 2019, and then 2020 kind of screwed everything up. Just because of COVID, not because of anybody that was done that way.
I don't really have anything right now. But thank you for your comment. I'll think about that.
Thank you.
What was the other person online? Muted, you're still muted.
There you go. I am just, I think he meant the Cuchara. My name is Daniel Kick, 439 Crossfire Lane between Cuchara and La Vita, and was questioning, I think what he mentioned was also the deed going back to the Cuchara Foundation. And supposedly that was voted on. You said it wasn't voted on, but you guys had you guys were going to vote to have that vote rescinded. So, I'm just wondering, what legal process was used to not give that deed back to Kuchera Foundation when it was voted on to be done, and why hasn't it taken place? And maybe I'm just misunderstanding. And I totally appreciate your guys' care and concern for the county. I don't think anybody's really doubting that. And you guys have stated that, and there's no reason to disbelieve that whatsoever. And you guys are in a tough position. There's no doubt about it. But I'm just wondering what authority and or your lawyers told you of a reason that you were able to not get that deed back to the Kuchera Foundation.
Do you have a short synopsis?
So there's no way in any way, shape, form, or fashion that I'm going to transfer a piece of property without a specific motion from the board. A motion that says instructs the administrator to prepare a deed and transfer and sell this property, a motion to sell it, a motion to transfer it to this entity, very specific language, usually so specific that we put it in resolutions rather than in mere motions. That never happened.
So a motion was made, but the resolution was not, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying a motion was never made to sell the park. It was a motion to develop conditions and a motion to accept what I gave them as conditions, but not a motion to sell.
Well, not to sell, but to grant the deed back to the Kuchera Foundation, who gave it to you in the first place.
That's a very specific motion, and it was not made. Intents or whatever, does not matter. A motion to transfer something of that nature would have had to been made for that to go forward.
Okay. So that was where the confusion lies with the public.
If I may, even in the paper that was used as a example that this is what happened, the next paragraph stated completely the opposite, said that we had other things we had to look into to even get to that point. And those things, so it did not happen. So, and we've beat this horse enough times. We need to get on because we have other appointments. So thank you for your comment. And I think we're done with that.
Brett, has a comment.
Oh, do we have more on time?
Brett.
Okay. Brett?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hello, Brett. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for, still trying to figure out this whole video call stuff after all these years, but I don't have a lot to say. I appreciate, golly, the time that's going into trying to figure this thing out. I do want to state one fact. I know that I heard a lot of comments about, that we're not willing to contribute back to the park and to the betterment of the park. And I just want to make sure that I make this clear, is that just for reference, in 2024 alone, we contributed back to Monument Lake Resort over $400,000. We've never taken a single penny out of that operation for profit, nothing. And that's just a reference point. I want you to, I want everybody to understand while they're talking around Buckhorn Ridge is I think a picture is being painted that we're just all for profit and we just want to come and make tons of money and run off into the sunset. That's not accurate. I mean, we work very hard. We contribute, guarantee you, any property that we're involved in, we contribute more than anyone else. And so I just wanted to state that fact that literally we have never in our first 4 years at Monument Lake Resort, we've never taken a single penny for profit out of that operation. We've reinvested every penny of it. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Oh, yeah, Brett, could you state your name and who you're with for the record?
Brett McGraw, Buckhorn Ridge Outfitters.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now I think permits. License.
Yeah, we really need to, and if I may, sure, we really need to move along with everything because we have we're over halfway through our second meeting we were supposed to be in. And at 12 noon, we have a third district meeting that we need to attend here virtually. So we will be moving on.
Okay, so action items.
Commissioners, first I have for you resolution number 25-16, a resolution confirming the importance of the Parker Fitzgerald Charmont Park, the Huerfano County Parks and Recreation Program.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 25-16, resolution affirming the importance of the Parker Fitzgerald Mountain Park to the Huerfano County Parks and Recreation Program.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion?
Yes, and the reason why we are doing this is because unless I get very clear directive from the majority of the population, this will remain a public county park.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Chairman Sporliter?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, I have for you resolution number 25-18, a resolution appointing Nathan Schultz as county attorney and Caitlin Young as deputy county attorney for a term expiring on December 31st, 2030.
I make a motion to accept resolution number 25-18, appointing Nathan Schultz as the Huerfano County attorney.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Sporliter?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioner, next I have your resolution number 25-19, a resolution canceling certain county warrants.
There were a lot of them, I read it.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution number 25-19, the resolution canceling certain county.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Chairman Sporliter?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have you the contract with Nathan Schultz. I noticed after I put this in the packet that I'm actually missing Exhibit B. So unless you guys are comfortable passing this without that portion, which I believe is the cost for Nathan Services, I will bring this back to you once I have that, which I expect to be into this week. The amount isn't changing. It's $195 an hour, I think, but he's making some updates to it. So just in case it is changing.
Yeah, well, we table it until next week.
Yep.
Get the full document.
All right. Next, I have for you a letter of agreement for termination of law enforcement services with the city of Walsenburg. This is a follow-up to our April 1st meeting. The mayor's already signed this agreement to terminate our law enforcement services contract as of March 31st, 2025.
I make a motion to accept the letter of agreement for termination of law enforcement services from the city of Walsenburg.
Second the motion.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Sporliter?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a request to accept the award of a community development block grant from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs to assist with upgrading utility services to Shea Organics, new location on the east side of I-25. The scope of work includes upgrading to three-phase power and increasing water line to 4 inches. We were awarded $582,200 with no match required from the county.
I will make a motion to accept the award of a DOLA Community Development Block Grant for the amount of $582,200 to upgrade utility services to Shea Organics.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion?
I think that this is an awesome thing for the community.
Absolutely. I was going to say same. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Sporliter?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, if you request to approve the application to the DOLA EIF Tier 2 funding, which had deadline of April 1st. This application is to fund half of the necessary renovations for the county jail. redoing the fire alarm system to bring it up to code, to perform masonry repairs on holding cells, to replace, upgrade, and unify security camera systems with the district center, and to update access controls throughout the facility. The overall project is quoted at $1,449,250. The county would have to contribute half, $727,625 of matching funds.
I make a motion approving the 2025 DOLA EIA Tier 2 grant application for up to $724,625 from the DOLA Energy Impact Assistance Fund for necessary jail security and safety renovations.
Second the motion.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have your request to approve an application to the 2025-2026 Court Security Cash Fund application. This annual grant helps cover a portion of the cost of the salary, benefits, and equipment for the court security guard. This year, we're also applying for a couple of security upgrades to the district center. The grant technically does not require a match. However, it does not cover 100% of the expenses. We have requested 100% of the estimated expenses for a total of $99,500.
Make a motion to approve the application to the court security cash fund in the amount of $99,500.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioner, next I have your request to approve a letter of intent to apply for a pre-development grant for the Gardner Main Street project. The maximum potential award is $25,000. In order to apply, we would seek funding for additional surveying, geotechnical work, engineering, and other pre-development activities.
I make a motion to approve the letter of intent to apply for a pre-development grant for Gardner Main Street.
Oh, sorry, second.
First and second, call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, I have for you a geotechnical engineering study proposal from Mountain Engineering and Testing Incorporated for a amount not to exceed $18,600. This work is for the Gardner Main Street project and necessary to continue work on the engineering for the development. County staff reached out to 6 other firms, but has so far been unsuccessful in getting another bid. Our developer asked that we move forward with this one sooner rather than later. We're not waiting for that for the award of the grant, but I think there'll be more than enough expenses for the grant to cover to make up for this.
Make a motion to approve the geotechnical engineering study proposal from Mountain Engineering and Testing for an amount not to exceed $18,600.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. Which is next to have for you a engagement letter from Spencer Fain, checked as bond counsel to the Gardner Public Improvement District for its loan from the Colorado Water Resources and Power Development Authority for an amount not to exceed $10,000.
I make a motion to approve the letter of engagement with Spencer Fain Bond Council for the GPID in an amount not to exceed $10,000.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioners, next I have for you a prepaid vendor run from last week. This is for several grant-related checks in the amount of $54,534.82.
Make a motion to accept the prepaid vendor run in the amount of $54,534.82.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion?
I appreciate that you go down to the same.
And call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, this is a big one. Commissioners, next I have for you the April 16th vendor run in the amount of $1,496,307.95. I successfully talked Debbie off of her ledge yesterday.
Yes, thank you just for the way it fell down in notation to me. I make a motion to approve the vendor run in the amount of $1,496,307.97.
I'll second the motion.
First and second, any other discussion?
Most of this is for capital improvement projects like the EOC building, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So we're actually going to get all of this back here very, very shortly.
Just clarification.
Yep.
First and second, call for,
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Sporter.
yes.
Motion passes. All right. Ready for correspondence?
Okay, yep, now correspondence. Sorry, it's reading.
All right, Commissioners. First I have for you a major activity notice from Brownstein. This is for City of Walsenburg. They have development for Venture 6171 LLC. Next I have for you a letter from CTSI. After that, I have your CAP monthly reports for March. I have the Treasurer's March 25 ledger.
Easy for you, say.
Thank you. Next, I have for you a transmittal of our recommendation for award of RFP 2023-08 to Patty Steel Corporation. Including the recommendation is the RFP, PSC's proposal and business plan, as well as the draft agreement. Unless the board instructs otherwise, we'll post this for public comment. And lastly, I have for you what I'm referring to as a secondary concessionaire proposal from Buckhorn Ridge Outfitters. We already worked this out today, but my intent is to put this out for coming along with PSCs as well, and we'll sort of ask public generally what do they want from the park and what do they want to consider things of this nature.
Yeah.
That's in the correspondence.
Okay. Staff report, county administrator.
All right. So right now we have 3 open positions. Actually, it's going to be 4 because we posted the auto mechanic position, dispatcher, dispatch communication supervisor, and avenue appraiser, and of course, deputy officer, digital officer are always open. I don't know if there's anything you guys quickly have questions on from the meeting. I have one for you guys. Enterprise, meeting with them was interesting. Thanks, Mitch, for coming. I have a harebrained idea, which is to sell 3 vehicles in order to buy 1 good one.
That doesn't sound harebrained. That sounds pretty good.
3 questionable ones. So
Or save insurance and all kinds of stuff.
maybe.
No.
I think we're still going to have to pay something on the 1 new one.
Yeah.
We sell the other 3, but that Ranger that land use uses, the land use Maverick and the Parks and Rec Maverick, I don't think any of them get a ton of use. Well, the land use one does, but so we'll replace it with 1 F-150 that we can assign to land use, and they can, if they need a second vehicle, parking vehicle, they can borrow the F-150.
Sounds good.
BOCC F-150.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, that's all I got for you.
Okay. Anything?
County attorney. I spoke to Nate about this letter. He asked me to include in your packet. He said that he's received several of these. I'm meeting with Natalie Cleet on Thursday to discuss her helping us out, or her firm helping us out with taking care of these backlogged land use cases. So I'm going to try to keep it affordable.
Okay, no need for executive session. And we have Board of Human Services upcoming an hour ago. So, here we go for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
For a second, I'm not going to accept any discussion. Call for the vote.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Royal?
Yes.
Chairman Spruill?
Yes. We are adjourned. 11:53 or 54.